Welcome back once again to Spirituality with a Spin. I am Ryan Keys, your host, and I hope that you're holding on. As we've talked about in the past, and I have promised, we are going to be touching on new topics that are going to be a little bit more taboo than we've done before. Because we want to open the door. Opportunity is understanding what's in front of us and being open to new choices, to change. Now, if you are not a subscriber, please click the button and the bell beside it so you get notifications when we upload, especially when we upload our energy update for the week. And if you do not follow me on social media, please go there now. And I would also like to encourage you to leave comments down below. Please interact. This is a family. This is a forum. Be kind. Come from a place of understanding and open mind. I'm not saying that these things are as stone. They are up for discussion. They are up and open for opinion. But be kind. And if you are a seeker, a fellow searcher, and you have encountered a unusual experience in your love life involving a soulmate or divine partner or twin flame, please look in the links down below. I have brought about a wonderful, beautiful healing program that I believe will put you on point for all the twin flame loose ends that could be tied up to help you start realizing what's going on and what you could do to make this a little bit more manageable. As we go into this topic, we're going to cover a few different things. We're going to talk about sexuality and conscious sexuality. We're going to talk about how what we are affects where we go. Where are we coming from? What are we working with? If I need to hammer a nail, if I'm using a rock, it's going to be a little bit hard to do that. I can get it done, but it's not as eloquent as having the hammer. So if you are ready for a journey and an adventure, please follow me inside. We go. Hold on. It is about to get hot in here. We are going to be talking about some topics that are going to actually probably make me feel a little bit embarrassed. And we're going to continue talking about tough topics because I believe that as you are advancing in the awakening, you need information. You need a place to kind of air out those ideas that could be frightening or that you might be holding back. All those little dust bunnies under the counter, those elephants under the rug, the skeletons in the closet. It's time that we forget about those and become here, because here's where all the healing is going to begin. The wake up happens when you realize you're out of bed and it's a new day. It's a new dawn. And this is where your healing is going to happen. Your healing is not going to happen about 6 months back. It's not going to happen 6 months into the future. If you plan for it to happen 6 months, that's like saying I'm going to be in the best shape of my life in 6 months. I'll start then. What about between now and then? By the time I get there, I've actually already expended a lot of the things that I've already needed to get to that place in my life. And if I say, hey, you know what? I'm going to heal that thing that happened to me about 11 months back by living it right now. Well, you're already living it, because a lot of the things, here's the beautiful thing about mistakes and messing up or living life. A lot of the things that are happening right now have been molded by your past experience. So all the past is actually present. You see, that's why we repeat a pattern. That's why the patterns continue to beat us up and beat us down. Because we are not understanding all the eloquence of the energy that's evolved and that is needed to heal actually happens right here. And a lot of that in this awakening, in this shift, in this experience where people have encountered twin flames or soulmates or karmic events which have started to raise questions in your mind and your heart. These things which have pulled you out of the dark of being undecided, the dark of ignoring your inner self, that voice that was speaking to you in your heart, ignoring that. Only listen to the voice in your head, the ego edging everything out that's godly. Now, your body, let's embrace it for a second. Because just some background information why I feel that this topic is important, because as a man, I believe we are challenged when it comes to intimacy. Why are we challenged when it comes to intimacy? Because of the information that we've been going with. because the insights that we're leaning on are not intuitive. They're just informational. We're just hearing what the guys say down at the watering hole or at the copier, right? We're not calling it like it is. We're following. We're not finding out what really makes us feel full. So wake up, man. There's a whole new level of sexuality. There's a whole new level of sensuality, that fullness that will forge a bond in your relationship requires you to start really looking deep within yourself. And it's scary. I was scared. I'm still scared at times. But I'll tell you, my initiation, which happened when I was a young boy into sexuality, really muddled the waters of how I might see intimacy. Now, many of you have had circumstances that it could have occurred at any point in your life that have muddled those waters. They've doused that desire. But that's another day. This is a new day, a new dawn, a new you. Every day you wake up renewed. You die to yourself that night. You surrender to your subconscious, and she guides you into a beautiful place of sleep. And your soul is wandering the world. And then you wake up energized, magnetized, like when the sun crests the horizon. So what I'm offering up is a new view of sexuality and the awakening and your body consciousness. When we do mirror work for the 10 minutes for 10 days, it's not that it's something that has to be done, but it is something that will help you to see the connection that is maybe not being fostered. Some people are in a defensive mode, so they're going to elevate their consciousness to try to escape the body. And if that was the case, wouldn't you be dead? Wouldn't you just go on and move out of this field if that's what you were here to find? I say no. I say it's not that I'm supposed to elevate out of the body. I'm supposed to dive deep down into the body. I'm supposed to discover the depths of what makes my desire, my fire, what makes me feel full, what quenches my hunger, what satiates my thirst, what allows me to dive in past just sight. So many of us are reliant on sight. We've become a virtually addicted world when it comes to sight and seeing. We judge people by what we see. Now let me just break that image down for one moment. When you take an electron microscope and you put it on any object, what you're seeing isn't what's there. So anything that you see actually doesn't exist in that way. It is only put together in the way that you are allowing perception to flow. So when you judge a person, well, that person's not my type. This is the past. This is conditioning. This is the very thing that is keeping you from being in an intimate dance with who you are and what you are capable of and how your desire can rise up into your life. You are not experiencing the fullness of everything around you. It's like an Easter egg hunt. Your basket isn't very full. You found one egg and now you're just like, well, that's it. There's nothing else to find. No, everything is a discovery. Everything you see is an agreement between all of us that that's what it's going to look like. But in theory, when I look at a red car passing, my red is different than your red, but we've agreed on a spiritual level that that will be the red car we recognize. But when we look deeper, it's like when you go through the door of your house. Are you seeing all the nails, all the supporting structures, all the rebar, all the plaster? You're not seeing those things when you walk in. You're not seeing the subatomic structure. So when you see these things, everything starts to look the same. We throw a little paint on it. We put some furniture in it. We maybe change the layout. But the structure is the same. My structure, my chemicals, my body is the same as your body. Now, if you've found a way to make your body feel connected and intimate through consciousness and through awakening and through a sexual activation and spiritual activation where you are connected with one other person, I can do the same thing. It's not a secret, but I have to begin to see things from a different perspective. I have to open up to a different mind's eye. And then I'm going to get the movement. Do you feel what I'm saying? So consciousness will awaken consciousness. Sex isn't necessary at this moment for us to have reproduction. They can make it out of a test tube. So right now, it's also an enjoyable thing, right? There's pleasure in sexuality. Now, at one point in history, it was the way that we were able to propagate and to breed it was a physical desire and drive to forge our society, to forge our family. But as our consciousness, as our spirit, as our mind is maturing, it's taking on a new role. As we wake up, we're still unaware that sexuality and consciousness are connected. Because intimacy is all about the understanding of how things work and work together. You feel what I'm saying? Men, if you are having issues with ED, if you are having issues with anything that's not related to proper performance, the intimacy is what you are missing, I would assume. Perhaps not. If not, comment down below. If you're bold enough, I will air my laundry out. There's a lot of gifts that we've been given as a conscious being. Our senses, our ability to interact, our emotional intelligence, the ability for us to bond with nature and to be a garden of this goodness that we see around us. The physical, the spiritual, the emotional, all of these things in the electric field. When they find you in one space, it's no longer a race. It is a pleasure to be present. And I believe many of us are having a hard time being present because we're missing the pleasure of it. We're finding pleasure through punishment, through shame, through blame. I did it. I punished myself. I withdrew from relationships that were really dynamic because I was punishing myself for being abused. I was punishing myself. I was confused. I wasn't able to open up because I didn't know what opening up meant. I didn't know I thought I was opening up into the unknown, but it is known. Love is here. Love is all around you. We know this. We know what intimacy feels like. We know what intimacy looks like. Look at nature. Look at the way that a tree grows into the ground gracefully. That should be your guide for how you're going to be part of your partner. As the roots caress the surface of the earth, so should you caress your partner. As the birds take flight without fright, so should you as you enter an emotional moment with the person that makes you feel connected. Do you see beyond sight? With all of the feelings that go beyond the form forging a bond, but into the intimate nature of what body consciousness is. Now, I encourage you, I love Tantra and I love yoga. If yoga helps to open you up in so many ways. Tantra isn't what you're thinking. Meditation is the massage of making you understand how to move in the present. All of these tools of awareness will prepare you for a new level of perception. Think of it as the rising of a gentle phoenix up from the base of your sacred space, through your heart, into your throat, and out through all of the things that make you connected with the whole. This infinite immersion, which will evolve into an intimate space. When you watch nature, be aware of how she grows. Be aware of her all-knowing as the clouds gracefully just glide across the ground. They're so intimate. This sensuality is all around you. If you don't know what sensuality is, just begin looking. It will help you. Now, creativity is the language of consciousness. So get creative with how you see things, with how you say things. Stop limiting your words. Stop limiting the way you live your life. Become a creator. That's the beauty of when you have a baby. You're creating a whole new world for this wonderful creation that you have taken part in. This is an intimate nature. This is a safe, secure space that you're creating for that beautiful, warm, fuzzy feeling for your offspring to evolve into something that you believe will be maybe even better than you. So you offer up unlimited creativity. You offer up everything in an unlimited love. You offer up unlimited support. You offer up as much unconditional love as possible. And this helps you evolve that relationship. Well, I ask that you start becoming aware of your own individual body the same way that a woman is aware of her body changing when she gives birth, the same way that we are aware of our body growing physically from ages 9 to 18. We hear the term growing pains. Of course, a lot of things come from pain. You don't go through it, you grow through it. You get me? Oh, we're getting to the good stuff. This is where that childlike play comes in. This is where those unseen realms of creation come in. When you get to spend some sweet time with the person that makes you feel. That's where you'll find your heart. That's where you'll find the intimacy. And what about self-intimacy? What about establishing a new link between your self-acceptance and your emotional awakening? Because the power of emotional intimacy is so dynamic. It bridges the opening of being secure in all things without just seeing the security anchored. You feel it. I believe that this intimacy, this inner intimacy, the understanding of what makes you feel, what makes you find, what makes you expand, is necessary and a priority for the coupling that you're looking for. If you want a twin, if you want a soulmate, if you want a divine partner, this inner intimacy, this evolution of yourself is definitely necessary to understand what keeps you from being loving to yourself, what keeps you from being supportive to yourself, what keeps you from being present, what makes you go back to the past to say, I hate myself, I can't do it, I always do this, if I did this, I wouldn't do this. What keeps you in this state of self-sabotage by seeing someone that is no longer in existence? Spiritual spanking. Bam! And I'm talking to myself. I'm not talking to you like a teacher. I'm talking to you like I am feeling as we are finding this way through the conversation. As we're creating a new story, I am also opening up. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it in my bones. I'm feeling it. I got goosebumps running down my back as we just evolve the conversation into a deeper level of maturity. I'm tired of feeling ashamed. I'm tired of feeling blamed. I'm tired of living in a life where I'm ashamed of my body. I'm tired of living in my life where I feel like everything is just a little bit too far for me to feel it. Let me ask you a question. How do you feel about yourself? What part of yourself do you find it the easiest to accept? And what part of yourself do you hate? And if you hate it, hold on. That's not your responsibility. Let it go. That's your ego trying to compare through expectation through the things that you see, because you're only looking at the topical status of the surface of the surroundings and what everything is. When you look at a tree, do you look at a tree and say, that's a damn ugly tree? I can't believe that oak tree is not as sexy as a pine tree. Hell no, we don't say that. Because why? Because everything under the eyes of God, when you look at nature, is so beautiful. You don't stand up on the top of a mountain and look down at a beautiful landscape of trees and lakes and think, if that lake just were a little bit bigger. No! So why do you evaluate such a wonderful part of God, such a beautiful part of yourself? Why do you evaluate this through your own inner perception? You're reflecting on things that are pushing who you are, pushing the true person way down the road. I love this by Bill Hybels. For a marriage or a relationship to flourish, there must be intimacy. It takes an enormous amount of courage to say to your partner, this is me. I'm not proud of it. I'm a little embarrassed by it, but this is who I am. And I'm going to evolve the conversation to be the best part of me. It's a change. It's calling yourself out. It's looking at the things that you're uncomfortable with and stop categorizing them in comparison to other people. But look at the things you're not comfortable with. Look at what you can evolve. Look at what you can change. What is within your power? What is within your scope right now? How can you heal today? How can you heal here? First, I'd say the body. Feelings about the body. That's where mirror work comes in. 10 days of mirror work. Your ability to express your sexuality, your sensuality, your view of yourself, your comfort zone, not feeling uncomfortable when you're out, not feeling like you have to hide yourself in the dark or under a shirt during sex. That sucks. So what if you're not the same image of what you see on the magazine cover or on a commercial? Those images don't exist. Those images are torturous pieces of judgment that you're allowing your ego to lay out before you as obstacles, as hurdles to your happiness. Stop doing it. Remember, every tree is beautiful. Every blade of grass is beautiful. Every lake is lovely. There's no ocean that's more beautiful than another. Every beach where the ocean crests is beautiful. When I look up into the night sky, I can turn around all the way 360 degrees and it's beautiful. So are you. So why can't you see yourself that way? Why are you distracted and disconnected because of other ideas that are so far and so distant from happiness and inner intimacy? No. Why would anyone in charge want you to love yourself? Why would anyone in charge want you to do a body scan and say, shit, girl, I'm sexy. I feel sexy. I feel there's a couple areas that I'm working on and they're going to evolve, but I'm feeling good. And remember, let's digest this just for 1 second. You have to take a temple to the temple to make a difference. So start reflecting on what you are. Don't be scared of your body. Don't be scared of your size, of your anything at all. Even men, man. Do you know the magic that happens when you are able to connect on a deeper level of soul with someone that you are interested in? It's that conversation where the clock stops. It's that moment when the kiss can't last long enough. You're not thinking about penetration. You're thinking about passion. You're elevating. You know what happens if you throw too much wood on the fire? It goes out. Do you know what happens if you throw too much fuel on the fire when you're trying to start it? It burns up and it's done. You need that fire to be stoked, to last you through the dark all night. It should be that fire that stays and protects even when you're asleep, even when you are not aware. That fire is burning bright. And it is adding light into any darkness. And I'll tell you, when I was trying to get a handle on any type of adult material, if it was feeling like it was forging too much into my life, it was like if I was like, oh, well, I don't need to go out tonight because I got mine. No, this fractures me. It fractures me. Because I start comparing myself to the things that I'm seeing in an intimate nature. Because, see, your body believes you. And your body believes what you're doing. So if my brain and my mind is opening up to images, and these, even girls, when you're looking at porn, let's just say it real. These people, a lot of them are perfectly designed in a perfect space. And what they're doing has nothing to do with sensuality. It's like a machine. Because there's a system, there's a diagnosis for this whole thing that's going on. So then our body starts believing that that's what it needs to repeat. It becomes our sexual narrative. It becomes the story our body starts to say. So then when you go to want to give something deeper, especially men, your mindset, because you get insecure, because intimacy triggers insecurities, right? Because it's calling on you to take that leap of faith. But then your body's like, wait, but I know what to do. Hold on. It's hammer time, for lack of a better word. So your body kicks in and takes over, and your soul's like, oh God, I'm out of here. And then your brain, your ego is like, perfect. We saw this. Just do what we saw. And the body's like, gotcha. And then, of course, 3 to 4 minutes later, you haven't been satiated. There's been nothing satisfactory on an intimate spiritual level or emotional. You might snuggle for a second, and then you drift into sleep because you got to go back to that place of safety. Or you're going to jump up, shower, and get a sandwich because you're still hungry. But for what? For who? Or how? So get to know your story. Be comfortable with your story. When you look at your face, when you look at your chest, when you look at your arms, when you look at your knees, get comfortable with your body. And if you don't know what that is, evolve that conversation. And if there's areas you're uncomfortable with, if you have the power to change those, like I can't change myself to be 6'4", but I can become comfortable with the areas that I express and what I am at the moment and where I present myself in the present. Now, if there's a little bit of belly, why, no, I'm not taking the temple to the temple. I'm probably eating some Snickers and some popcorn, and I'm probably staying up too late and limiting my energy. So I just switch it up. I start treating myself like the temple. And then I feel good. I feel energized. And then I feel connected. And then I've got confidence in that I am established a connection with my constant body. Bingo. Communication is the foundation for all things in consciousness. Self-communication, communication with others, communion, meaning that when we communicate, we're coming in union through voice, through visual, through senses. This is important. This is where you're going to find that victory in being vulnerable. All right, so this is the end of this conversation for the moment. We're going to plow into some other areas, so be ready. Click subscribe. Click the bell by the button, because you're not going to know when that information is going to just come out of inspiration. Follow me on social media if you do not follow. And remember, this is not a 5-minute fixer-upper. This is a show that involves conversation, because I'm going to tell you, really, and you already know, the truth doesn't come in 10 seconds. It comes from the evolution of working with it and being it. Evolve your inner self. Listen. Inform yourself. Don't be fearful of your senses and your sensuality. If you are on the twin flame path or the soulmate search, divine partnership and purpose, I've put together a beautiful healing program that I'm proud of, that I believe will give you the information you're looking for to put everything into a proper place, tying up some of those loose ends. Peace, light, and love, and I will see you on the other side. It's like an existential earthquake, a sudden sense of immense importance and impact in your life. It has entered a sudden state of being overwhelming. Change in a way that you've never been aware of. Intuitively, you know that you're like, what is this? I feel this. I don't know what it is. It's something like you've never experienced before. It's breathtaking. It's ferocious. It's fiery. It's intense. It's a transformative process. It requires you to see the mirror in yourself. Now, I ascertain that when God brings this to you, God wants you to have it. God is putting this in your path because you are coming together in union. And as long as you maintain the hierarchy of that belief and you put your faith into something that is unseen, when you can believe past your own insecurities and your own inadequacies into something bigger, that will give you an advantage, that will help you to be able to see the true light of the situation. You'll be able to open that blessing to another conscious level of living. What is this twin flame quaking that everyone is talking about? What is the twin flame? Two names, one soul. What is it? Okay, so we are getting ready to dive into the luscious group of labeling. What is a label? Hi, and I am so excited that you've decided to go forward with the mirror work. And what we're going to do is we're going to break down these 10 days so that you get the best out of it that you can. Hi, and welcome to the Divine Love Academy Twin Flame Soulmate Divine Partnership course, where we are helping you to help yourself. I am doing this in a little bit of a different format right now. And this is going to be a meditation and a release. So if you have headphones, please put those in. And I am super excited that we are moving on to the topic of spirit guides. We are seeking love. Love doesn't have a label. Love is about loving, and that's the beauty of it. You may have heard people in social media refer to me as Reiki Ryan. And why? Because I'm a Reiki master and I love utilizing Reiki as a tool during the revival and renewal and restoration of your divine purpose, your divine mission. You may have noticed I don't have my glasses on right now because I don't need to read. I'm doing Reiki. This is a Reiki healing and I want to be connected with you. I want to be right here, centered and present. One of the things I wanted to reaffirm is signs, synchronicities, spirit guides, connection to the other side. We're going to do a little bit of initiation here. We are moving along gently, but we're growing. You're knowing, you're learning stuff as you go, and I hope that it is informational and that everything is working out the way that you expected and anticipated. I wanted to get a group of tools and things that you can use. And then we're going to do a meditation on how to open up the doors to attract and to elevate the consciousness you're experiencing, whether it's you want to call it twin flame or soulmate. Now you know where we're going to start today. Now you know what this is leading into. The desire of your heart. Desire starts by fire. And I want you to just, for 1 second before we go into this, imagine that you're holding your hands like this. Sitting here going through all this information with me, I know that it has been a huge part of your self-discovery, going through these turns and twists, these sleepless nights, situations where you have palpitations, where you feel that you're connected to something and you're not quite sure what. It's overwhelming and you're not sure why. Hopefully that this course, this process will shed some light, can get the healing that they need. Do I have your agreement? Do you agree that healing is necessary in your life? Are you here? Will you accept healing wherever it needs to go?